Ferrari made a change to Hamilton and Leclerc's SF-25 that no one noticed, but it could decide the fate of the season as early as the Japanese Grand Prix. After a chaotic weekend in China, the team quietly altered the SF-25. On the surface, it looks like a technical tweak, but behind closed doors, it's being treated as a panic move. The rear end of the car is unstable, balance disappears with a full fuel load, and the modified suspension setup might not survive Suzuka's new bumpy surface. If this doesn't work in Japan, Ferrari may have to abandon the SF-25 project entirely. This isn't just setup, it's make or break, and no one inside the team wants to say it out loud, but here we will. So watch until the end. Find out what Ferrari's trying to hide, and if you want the truth without the PR spin, subscribe to Paddock Insider. We don't sugarcoat it, we shut it down. Let's be honest, what Ferrari did in China was an embarrassment. There's no other word. The weekend looked promising, especially with Hamilton's sprint win, but it all went downhill fast. First, a lackluster performance on Sunday. Leclerc finished 5th, Hamilton 6th, and the Brit had actually started ahead. Then came the bombshell. Both cars were disqualified, one for being underweight, the other for a technical infringement. Two separate infractions, one for each car. That shows a disorganized team with no proper oversight. This is the kind of mistake you'd expect from a backmarker team. Not Ferrari. The Scuderia is playing at Formula One while Red Bull and McLaren are playing to win. Losing on pace is bad. Losing in the scrutineering room? That's unacceptable. And unless the fans start demanding better, this will keep happening. Imagine losing a race because your car was 1 kilo under the minimum weight. Sounds like a joke, right? But that's exactly what happened to Leclerc. And not because someone forgot to refuel. It was due to a front wing replacement with a different construction, even though the design was technically the same. The new part was lighter, and after draining the fuel for post-race checks, the car failed the minimum weight requirement. Is it a technical mistake? Sure, but more than that, it's a strategic blunder. How do you swap out a critical component without checking its weight? Where's the quality control? Once again, Ferrari is tripping over its own feet, and the fans are left frustrated, thinking the issue is always with the car, when often it's just incompetence. F1 is a sport of millimeters and grams, and Ferrari keeps fumbling the basics. There are still people defending Ferrari, saying the car's concept is good. Maybe it is, but the team managing that concept seems lost. Leclerc's situation is case in point. They used a part with the same design, but built differently. The result? Different weight, different behavior, and a car outside the rules. That's the kind of mistake even an F1 engineering intern would be taught to avoid. Ferrari appears more focused on protecting its image than doing solid technical work. But image doesn't win races. While other teams test, validate, and only then deploy, Ferrari is still improvising. If that's how it's going to be, they might as well outsource their quality control. Because right now, this isn't a design problem, it's a leadership failure. Here's the irony. Hamilton just joined Ferrari, and he's already their strongest asset. He took pole in the sprint and won it with authority. He showed there's still plenty of fight in him, but then the team changed everything for Sunday and wrecked it. The setup that worked on Saturday disappeared. Hamilton was stuck in midfield with no pace. What does that tell us? That Ferrari knows how to build a quick car, but not a consistent one. Hamilton muscled it in the sprint, but even he can't work miracles when the engineers are holding him back. And let's be real, a 7-time world champion shouldn't have to carry the whole team by himself. The team should be lifting him. If they keep relying on talent alone, it's going to be another season of almost. And Hamilton didn't sign up for almost. He wants a title. The question is, does Ferrari? The SF-25 is a weird machine. Light with low fuel, it flies. It's agile with strong downforce and works great in sprint races. But fill the tank and it becomes a different beast. It loses grip, chews through tires, and can't handle the full 305-kilometer race distance. In the sprint, with about 40 kilograms of fuel, performance is incredible. On Sunday, with 100 kilograms, the car has to be raised to avoid scraping, which kills the floor's aerodynamic efficiency. The result? Around 4/10 loss per lap. In F1 terms, that's a chasm. How does a front-running car fall apart just by adding fuel? That's a fundamental setup and design issue. If Ferrari can't solve this absurd difference between sprint and race pace, they'll keep shining on Saturday and getting battered on Sunday. And no one wins championships with sprint highlights. Everyone wants to know, why is the SF-25's rear so unstable? Simple. Ferrari shortened the gearbox to improve weight distribution and redesigned the rear suspension. Still pull rod, but with different mechanics, and it looks like it's not working. The car might be lacking the rigidity it needs. And if your rear isn't solid, goodbye traction, goodbye stability, goodbye race. The team insists it's not an aero issue, but a mechanical one. Okay, so why haven't they changed anything? They're keeping everything the same and hoping the car stops bouncing like a kangaroo. That's not engineering. That's wishful thinking. The truth is, the SF-25's rear might not be coping with uneven tracks or high loads. And until they fix that, the car will only look good on paper. Because on track, the rear end dances and the results disappear. There's talk of modifying the diffuser's keel, that step-shaped cutout on the SF-25's rear floor. The idea is to generate more downforce there, but only if the ride height is spot on. Sounds promising, right? But it only works under perfect conditions, something rare in a race. Ferrari is also trying to stiffen the setup without changing any components. So they'll tweak with what they've got. That's a huge risk, like running a marathon in flip-flops just because you've already paid for them. Ferrari needs to understand, sometimes replacing parts isn't optional. Trying to fix everything in setup is just the wrong kind of cost-cutting. It might work once in a while, but that won't win titles. And at this pace, Red Bull isn't even looking in the mirrors. The updates might not make it in time for the Japanese Grand Prix, and if that's the case, good luck. Suzuka is a technical, high-speed circuit, now resurfaced and reportedly full of bumps. It's not the kind of track that forgives bad setups or unstable cars. The chances of suffering again are high. And if Ferrari flops a third weekend in a row, it'll be a crisis. The team knows it can't mess this up again, but they always seem one step behind. Maybe we'll see improvements in Bahrain, a circuit with more data. But by then, the season will have moved on, and so will the competition. Waiting for miracles from the wind tunnel or parts that never arrive is a sign this team is still stuck in the early 2000s. Ferrari needs to wake up. Either they become a top team again, or they'll be remembered as the eternal almost. No one's saying the SF-25 is a bad car. The issue is that a good car means nothing if the team keeps fumbling the basics. The technical management feels lost. Decisions are shaky, mistakes repeat. Ferrari suffers from an identity crisis. It can't decide if it's a modern operation or a nostalgic mess. It's stuck in between. They have the money, they have the drivers, but they don't have leadership, no edge. And fans are sick of watching the Scuderia turn into a joke in engineering meetings while other teams evolve by the week. The saddest part? Watching the talent of Leclerc and Hamilton being wasted by errors no F2 team would tolerate. So here's the real question. How long will Ferrari settle for almost? Because by now, this isn't bad luck anymore. It's incompetence, painted red. And if you truly support this team, it's time to demand more. No excuses. And if you made it this far, if you like this no-filter breakdown with honest takes and zero PR fluff, hit the like button, drop your opinion in the comments, and subscribe to Paddock Insider. We don't sugarcoat it. We call it like it is.